Welcome to Childcare Conversations with Kate and Carrie.
Welcome, and today we are going to have a conversation with two owners of a franchise program, and we are going to talk about making a community impact at a personal and community level. And I am so excited to bring Christy Black and Jordan Owens on. And so real quick, Christy, why don't you give us, a really short bio, and then Jordan, if you'll give us a really short bio so that folks get to know you, and then we'll talk about why we brought you on.
Perfect. Thank you for having us. My name is Christy Black. I have been with the Primrose Preschool brand for 17 years. I've been a franchise owner for 10. And we currently own and operate 3 schools in the Austin market.
Great. Well, welcome, Christy.
I am Jordan. Thanks also for having us. I joined Christy 7 years ago as a director at one of our locations, and I've been helping her with operations for the past 4 years, and I signed up to be a partner of hers in ownership of the schools 2 years ago.
Well, congratulations, and I love that story. What a great story to go from director, management to owner. I think there's a lot of directors that probably think somewhere down the line they'd be interested in that. So excited, and who knows, maybe that's a different podcast. So we are recording this podcast during a week where there was a major holiday, and for over 23 years, Carrie and I have been training directors, and one of the things that we talk about is community involvement, and that community connection is really, really important to stand out. And in some communities, out of a big crowd, because if you're in a major city, there might be dozens of programs literally within, 5 to 10 miles of somebody's home. So I was so excited, and it is not a new thing. So Christy and her administrative staff do an awesome job of sharing what I consider real community connections and impact on LinkedIn, as well as some of the school social media, but really much more in their professional presence on LinkedIn. So Christy, how did this start? When did this start? What is your thought behind giving back to the community on that day versus taking the day off or having a staff training?
Well, first and foremost, I want to clarify, we volunteered the Saturday before, so not the actual holiday. So I don't want to get, too many accolades for that. But volunteering and community outreach has just been something that has been ingrained in me, I think, as a human. My dad is a banker, and he just retired, but was for 46 years. And even when I first became an owner, I said, what do I do? Like, what's the first thing? And he was like, join your chamber, get involved, start, get out there and start volunteering and start supporting your local community, all that grassroots stuff. And so I did. And so now we are very active. We try to get really involved in whichever local chamber is connected to one of our locations. And it's not something that I've just done personally. I want to encourage that in our business. And so started this silly little saying. I like to make rhymes. It's really nerdy, but I was like, Black Pack gives back. That's fun. That could go on a t-shirt. And so we tried that, and we started things like that. And it's just morphed into, no matter what, no matter who shows up, no matter if it's 2 of us or 150 of us, we're going to show up quarterly and give back to something that's near and dear to our heart or our family's hearts. We have to do an annual giving campaign every spring. It's called Spring Fling. It's part of our Primrose franchise. So we're also tied to a brand, right, that believes in giving back. But that's kind of how it all started, and now it's just morphed into this quarterly outing that you got to see on LinkedIn.
Oh, how exciting. Well, I think that's great to kind of go, okay, so, you gave the props to, for lack of a better term, whoever initiated it within the Primrose brand, but I like how you guys have kind of made it your own. So, you know, Carrie and I both have been very active in volunteering with youth organizations because we had children, right? And so sometimes that's an easy connection.
Also, we
And
were children.
huh?
We were children also. I mean, I think it's relevant to everyone to be involved in youth organizations because they probably had people volunteering for them when they were.
Yes. We're paying it forward.
Absolutely. And we did yeah, so our kids also together started a nonprofit and ran a nonprofit. So we won't talk about how many tree plantings we've done or how many times we have picked up trash somewhere. Let's just say it was a lot. I actually do have a spreadsheet if anybody would like to know, because I'm just that geeky.
She's that person.
You know, I wanted the youngest to be able to write college essays that talked about exactly how many tons of trash she picked up since she was 4, or how many trees she personally planted.
That's a good one.
She was able to do that. So
I also have a spreadsheet that tracks my children's community service hours. So I got you.
thank you, Christy. I needed that. I needed to know. I needed to know. So, Jordan, how do you feel about being part of an organization that really wants to be and stay connected to their community? What does that say to you?
I think we're just doing what we preach, really. We always say, you know, we're pillars in the community. We're here for not just childcare needs, but do you need a pediatrician recommendation? Do you need a dentist recommendation? Do you need a babysitter recommendation? And how can you be a pillar in the community if you're not involved in your community? So I think if you put it like that, it's really simple. I think also another really cool thing we do is we try to bring our team, like the community, to them, if you will. We do a special day called Dreams Summit, and we've also turned that into like a little spin-off called Dream Big University, which is more training and development, and we were working on enneagrams and things like that, just helping our team get to know how they function in the world with people around them better. But the Dream Summit is really cool. It was based off a book we read, and we decided that we would use one of these days to, like you mentioned earlier, that we could be closed or we could do a training and development, but we instead decided to bring our teachers to the community, or the community to our teachers, however you want to put it. But we've successfully done 2 of them. We'll do a 3rd one this year, and we bring, y'all came and did a booth, travel agents, bankers that help with savings accounts, 401k, how to get a mortgage loan, travel agents, a parks and rec person. So people from all different areas of life, and all of these people are chosen based on things our teachers have expressed to us are important to them outside of work. And so we try to give them tools to build these dreams or things outside of their home so that they're more well-rounded and more settled when they come into work and work for us and pour into these kids. So it's really cool to see people who come to us on their, first week of work and are struggling to pay rent in an apartment, and 2 years later talking about I'm saving for a home. This is how much I need to put on a down payment, and to see that shift in them, partially because we've helped them gain these resources. So it's really cool.
I love that connection, that community connection to staff. Carrie, you look like you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so do you think that whole pouring into the community and making a connection between community and staff has helped with your retention rates with your clients or with your staff?
Absolutely. So the Dream Big University that I was speaking of, it stemmed from this Dream Summit. So everyone that starts with us takes the Enneagram, and so everyone knows their 2 numbers, and we put them out on the walls on their teacher biographies outside, and it's really we talk about it constantly. Like, two co-teachers aren't getting along. Well, have you read about their number? Are you speaking to them in the way that they can digest that? But it's also turned into them wanting to learn more about themselves and learn how they can have a more peaceful work environment, communicate more effectively to the parents, to us, to the kids. So we've started doing lunch and learns monthly, and we pick a development topic. And I think that also has helped with our stickiness, because they feel like not only are they coming to work and, getting a paycheck and spending time pouring into these kids, but they're also learning how to better themselves, and how to be a great fit for any company or any role. If they're interested in moving up with us, we require, a little bit more from our leaders. And so we just start giving that to them right away.
Awesome. And Christy, what about how it helps with enrollment?
Oh gosh, I think I think we've touched on this previously, but the old mantra still stands, happy teachers make happy children, make happy parents.
Yeah.
And so we kind of switched our funnel, when 10 years ago, when I first started becoming an owner, it was like the customer, like whatever the customer needs, whatever they want. And even after being a director for 7 years and going to battle for my team, I had it backwards. And so it took us a second, but we figured it out and we flipped the funnel on its head. And so now it's all team focused and keeping them happy and healthy and engaged. And that in turn has helped enrollment as well, because the teachers are sticking around. They're talking about us at the grocery stores, and they're happy at their jobs, and parents really want to see that, in a teacher in a classroom. They want to know that they're truly valued, taken care of, etc.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a quote floated through my head and then it floated right back out as you were talking, because I was so engaged in what you said that it just went straight through. But it was something along the lines of, if you support your staff, then your staff supports your business.
Mm-hmm.
And it was people always say, I wish my employees cared about my business as much as I do. And Joey Coleman says, well, your employees wish you cared as much about them as you cared about your business.
It's true. And there's a fine line, right? Like we're never going to get it perfect. It's never going to be exactly what each individual person thinks should be coming down the line, but there's really strong odds that you can meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so Jordan and Christy, if you had a director who was listening and you could give them just one piece of advice on why they need to get involved in their community, or why they need to get their community involved in their staff, one of you can take one answer, one of you can take the other.
Okay. Who's taking what, Joe?
You go. I'll take whatever you don't.
Okay, I'll do the community and you can do the inside. If you don't get involved with your community, then you're missing out on a huge referral resource right there. When my franchise owner that brought me up through the business, she was known as the Primrose lady. She would go to the grocery store, and that's what I aspired to be. I love seeing children in the grocery store or wherever, and they're like, you go here too, and it's like, yes, I'm an actual person, but they recognize us from their little lives that they get to, have with us inside of the schools. And we should be the number, top 3 out of someone's mouth in any referral instance. And it's so easy to do. It's not a hard thing. You just show up. And then all of a sudden people are talking amongst other, at a totally different event. And they're like, yeah, my cousin's moving here and she's looking for a daycare or a preschool. And you're right there. You're right there in their brain. So it truly is a no-brainer. And you totally get out of it whatever you put into it, is what we have found.
Yeah, that's brilliant. All
right, Jordan.
Okay. So I think, obviously our Dream Summit event, we feel like bringing the community to our staff is really cool for them on a lot of levels, but also our franchise company encourages a lot of community and interactions in the school on a curriculum level also, which is an amazing benefit of our curriculum. So multiple times out of the year, we invite fire trucks and police and the local dentist and a local nurse, and they can come into the school. And on a child level, that is really cool for you to see, the same but opposite of Christy's point, for a kiddo to see a police officer in their safe setting and to know, this is a safe person. It teaches so many values and community principles that they wouldn't learn otherwise. So on both levels, for the child and for our staff, it's really important. And it then encourages them to go get involved too. You have these people coming and serving their time for your class and your students and for you. It in turn makes you want to get out there and get involved too.
All right, I have 2 final questions. I don't care which one of you
I have
answer
one.
them. You can wait a minute. So you mentioned that the Dream Summit came about as a result of a book that y'all read. Was this you and Christy? Was this your administrative leadership team? And what was the book?
Okay, it's called The Dream Manager, and I knew you were going to ask me this. I don't know who it's by off the top of my head, so forgive me, author of The Dream Manager. But it was a recommendation to us from our business coach. He had done it with his team and seen just profound results. The topic of our coaching call was stickiness. Like we were coming out of COVID, we were just bleeding and turnover, and it was the same across the board, right? Like everybody was feeling these things, but it's like, okay, we're not going to change the outside situation. What can we change on the inside to be different, to set ourselves apart? And so, you put a book in front of me, twist my arm, I will read it for sure. And so did, and it's a short read, which is great, because then I asked everyone else to read it and they did. But it was a wonderful way to take what was in the book and make it our version. And that's how the Dream Summit came to.
So when you say everyone, are you talking about your admin staff?
Just our executive team. Yes.
Team?
So
now, is this something
you guys
do? You guys do this regularly?
Books?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We do.
We do.
Sometimes just the execs, and sometimes the whole leadership team will do a little book study, or even just like a chapter or a couple chapters. But yes.
Absolutely.
Christy likes us all to have a book in our hand. And actually, this week on our coaching with our business coach, he said, you can't lead unless you read. And it's true. Every leader should have a book in their bag. Every leader should be able to refer to someone brighter and more seasoned than them and be able to take those ideas.
It's the cheapest mentoring you can get.
It is.
Yes.
There's
Absolutely.
always,
and at your own pace.
Yes, there's always at least one aha. So
Yeah.
Love that. Okay, Carrie, you said you had one.
Yeah, you stole my question.
Oh. Sorry. I was sure your question was going to be different than mine.
No, that was
All
my
right.
question.
Well, Jordan, Christy, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Carrie, what do you have to say?
Okay, guys, if you learned something from this show, please share it with someone else who needs to know, and go in and write a review of the show so that other people know what you think about Jordan and Christy, and maybe Nate and I. So go on in and write a review of the episode or of the show in general, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to Childcare Conversations with Kate and Carrie. Want to learn more? Check out our website at texasdirector.org. And if you've learned anything today, leave us a comment below and share the show.